turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. You can't love your country only when you win. I kind of thought that's what your plan was. My God, what freedom else would you take away? If I were smart, I'd go home now. Some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in.
Joe Biden gave his State of the Union last night in what was one of the best speeches I've ever seen him give. It was full of vigor and passion. He went right at Republicans and Trump and clearly laid out the battle before us while also exposing hypocrisy, and also highlighted his numerous wins as president and the stark difference between him and the other guys. So there's lots of clips I want to get into today. You have to bear with me, a lot to talk about. And interestingly enough, Republicans after were trying to hyper-focus on little things. Who would have thought? Or try to label him as aggressive to take from the fact that he pretty brutally dismantled their entire worldviews, highlighted their failings, and clearly portrayed himself as the clear American choice. Let's start with his defense of women's reproductive rights.
And my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. With all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you were right about that.
I love this from him. It was concise and straight to the point. The majority of Americans do support abortion being both legal and accessible, and Republicans have felt the effects, the negative effects, ever since overturning Roe. Losing election after election, referendum after referendum, at this point, their position just grows increasingly more unpopular, while the opinion of women is getting louder and louder, especially in political spaces. He then goes on to highlight his economic success and the mountain that he had to climb to get us to where we are, largely because of COVID and the mishandlings of Trump.
The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record. Unemployment at 50-year lows. A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up, inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and tending lower.
And this is all despite when he took office, the economy being on the brink of collapse. Inflation was going up and ready to spike. We had lost jobs, lost GDP, lost exports, and Biden still managed to turn that around into record job growth. Over 16 million new small businesses started, also a record. He's dropped our inflation to be the lowest in the world, lower than any comparable country, and has record investments into HBCUs, something Trump supporters wouldn't shut up about when he held the record. Well, Biden stomped on that. And I mean, by all accounts and purposes, it seems that he's turned the ship around and ready to solve for this sort of economic comeback. And as I said, he also held no punches for Republicans while relaying this message, going at them in this speech, going at them off script and responding to their heckling. Here he is destroying them over their defense of January 6th.
My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
Look at Mike Johnson back there rolling his eyes, trying to act like he's not directly being called out right now. Here he is going on then to also mock them for pretending they don't want expensive tax cuts for the wealthy.
Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was.
This is something Republicans talk about extensively. It gets brought up anytime the budget gets brought up. I mean, Trump tried to do it. Ron Paul talked about it just the other day. We covered it on the channel. And then they want to also raise the age to qualify for Social Security. So you're working till you're 70, 75, 80. And these are programs that we all pay into. Don't forget that. It's not government handouts. We fund these programs, and they want to take that money and instead use it for something that'll make their wealthy donors happier rather than the American people. If you don't believe me, look up Donald Trump's numerous attempts to cut and suspend the payroll tax when he was president. This is the exact tax that funds these programs, and guess what? He never put forth something to replace it to fund it in its place. So what do you think his goal was there? Biden in this speech also gave direct acknowledgement, the most direct acknowledgement we've seen from his administration, as to the horrendous actions in Gaza and how Israel is definitely going too far, while also announcing some lengths that we are going to be going to ensure that aid can reach the Palestinians.
It's taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocent women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin, families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking.
He announced that the U.S. would be building a port off the shore of Gaza to ensure that aid can get in one way or the other, as well as calling for a 6-week ceasefire to help further negotiations, which is warming to say the least. It's more than we've seen recently from his administration, more than we've seen from any other president. I was personally hoping for a call for a lasting ceasefire, but I think that this is definitely a step in the right direction in terms of getting there. Back to him going at Republicans, however, he then perfectly calls them out for something that we've highlighted on this channel numerous times, how Republicans will vote against his bills and then take credit for the money that comes in their districts when they ultimately pass.
Thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you have strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Now, in a bit of a twist, I want to end with how Joe Biden started. Now that we've seen the utter destruction and the flames he left in his trail during his speech, let's watch the humility and humor that he chose to open with.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
And this was the vibe that he kept largely through the entire night. He was humorous, vibrant, he had a clear message to get across and did so efficiently, and he wasn't scared to tell Republicans exactly how it is while he was doing it. And now you can see them all running to social media. Oh, he's aggressive, he's divisive, but he's also Sleepy Joe who's barely cognitively there. I don't know, but they're just trying to play this civility politics game. And I think that Democrats stopped feeding into that, and Joe Biden did a great job not at all feeding into that in any way. They come with these outrageous personal attacks at Joe Biden, at Democrats, labeling them all kinds of vicious things that they aren't. They demean their character, their decisions, the way he walks and talks. And then they expect him to play to this level of civility because we're the left. But no, we're not going to do that. It's time that you start talking to MAGA and Republicans the way that their actions predicate them being treated, and then expose them for exactly who they are. These childish lunatics that don't want to get anything done for the benefit of the American people. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.